knew going into hockey season, being from STL, I had to rep the Blues in at least one of these videos, but today I bring you the news. So, first and foremost, we have GameStop. They already bought all of your PSA slabs, and now they want to become an official PSA submission center for your raw cards to turn them into slabs as they continue their campaign to decimate all independent local game stores. We have Surging Spark, allocation numbers coming out, and I'm not going to mention any names or numbers in this video, but I will tell you kind of what to prepare for with that set. It ain't looking good. And then we're going to talk about the market as a whole and some of the big moves that are happening and what I think are good plays, whether they be time to buy or time to sell and take some profits. Now, with that being said, as always, this is entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Should not be taken as financial advice. It's for everyone to hang out and have a good time and listen to an idiot talk in a room filled of collectibles. So, with all that being said, before we jump into that good stuff, I gotta shout out today's video sponsor. It is Arizona TCG. You got slabs? Don't want to sell them at Collecticon? Don't want to sell them on eBay? You want them to do all the work for you? Send them your PSA, BGS, and CGC slabs. They'll run them through their 100% positive feedback, over 12,000 items sold, over 2,000 follower eBay store. They're only going to charge you 13.5% fees, meaning it's about the same, if not better, than what it's going to cost you to do all the work yourself on eBay, and you wipe your hands clean of it. So if you want to take advantage of that, the link will be in the description and the comment section below. All right, we got to start out with GameStop. This is probably the most juicy story right now. So, if everyone remembers, during the pandemic, GameStop got picked up by Roaring Kitty and his band of followers, and they sent that stock to the absolute moon. I don't know, it went up like 100x in value, whatever it was from the bottom, and they gained immediate, billions of dollars in market value, and they took that opportunity to sell shares and really become cash rich. And what I mean by that is they've got so much cash they're sitting on, they can really do whatever they want. They could lose money for decades and they won't go out of business. All right, that's kind of the amount of cash GameStop is sitting on right now. And so they're taking this opportunity to pivot away from more of being just a video game store because they see the video game model start to change. It's becoming more digital. Less people are buying physical copies. And so it's starting to struggle. And so they said, hey, TCG World's hot. Why don't we pivot that direction? And that's exactly what they're doing. So if you guys don't know, obviously, there's no premier local game store, right? Obviously, in certain parts of the country, there's bigger ones than others. But if you ask the average person on the street, can you name a local game store? No one's going to be able to name any of these stores, guys. They're big to us in our little world, but no one knows them on a national level or a world level. They know GameStop, though. And that's the brand recognition. That's the power they have. And they are using it. And so first, they used it to buy all your PSA slabs. Now they're using it to be a place for you to bring your cards to submit to PSA, and they're undercutting everybody. I know my local game store, they charge $20 for this service. GameStop, $15.99. They just undercut them by 20%. Or, 20? Yeah, 20%. And so, it's a little scary, right? If you guys don't know, to submit with PSA, you can submit without a membership, but it's really expensive. So you need to get a membership to get the bulk rates, which is, I believe, $150 a year now, $200 a year now. I forget exactly what it went up to. But you have to pay a yearly membership fee, and then you get the option to send in bulk orders at $14.99 a card. Only $1 cheaper than what GameStop is charging, and you don't have to get a membership. Oh yeah, by the way, you don't have to ship your cards yourself. You don't have to pay for return shipping. Therefore, it's actually cheaper going with GameStop than it is doing it yourself, especially for those people that aren't grading hundreds and thousands of cards a year and they only maybe grade a couple orders. It doesn't make sense to them to have a PSA membership anymore. They'll just take them to GameStop. Now, personally, I probably wouldn't take any high value cards to GameStop. I wouldn't want, a $15 hour employee or whatever they get paid to handle my high end collectibles. But a bunch of the bulk cards that are going to be worth $50 to $200. I don't see that much of a risk in it, right? I'm sure it's insured once you submit them and you leave the store. And so, what's the worst that happens? Like PSA or the insurance pays you out? I don't know. But that's what I would assume. And it seems like it's going to be a great move for them. Now, I think this is just another move on the kind of on the chain, on the ladder up. I think they're going to continue to decimate local game stores, guys. I wouldn't be surprised. Again, I have no information. I'm just spitballing here. I wouldn't be surprised if they start selling more lines of product, booster boxes, all of the main things that LGS sell. I wouldn't be surprised if they start taking trades of more items. I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing expanded GameStops where they actually have tables set up and they become places for tournaments to be held, regionals, people to just come and play at night instead of going to their local game store. Because here's the thing, guys. Local game stores have that kind of image of being like dark and dreary, and you walk in and talk to these TCG guys that talk way over your head, and you just want to have like a regular retail experience. And that's what GameStop offers. They're the place where all the people who aren't in the TCG world, the moms and dads, the brothers, the sisters, the friends, to go and get someone a gift or buy something for someone, or buy something for themselves. They're a casual collector. They're not on the whole YouTube TCG world. And it's just a more inviting place. It's a name everybody knows. And so they're using that to continue to push further into this world. I wouldn't be surprised in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years to see a lot of smaller LGS stores continue to go under because of these competitions that are starting to arise. So that's what's happening with GameStop. You can bring your cards there. They'll send them into PSA, only $15.99 a card. If you want to take advantage of that service, proceed with caution. I don't know how much value I would be trusting, GameStop employees with, but I'm sure all those people are good people. And so, hey, proceed at your own risk. All right, next up, Surging Spark. Again, I can't mention any exact numbers or any names of people that told me this. I've talked to a few because it's not my information to give. I don't want to be a person that releases information without, the person wanted me to. So I will tell you, Surging Spark is going to be shorter printed than Stellar Crown, from what I can tell. From everyone that I've talked to so far, it seems like their Surging Spark numbers of what they're getting for booster box wise are going to be less booster boxes than what they were given from Stellar Crown. If you guys don't know, Stellar Crown is nowhere near the set that Surging Spark is. It doesn't have anywhere near the hype, it doesn't have anywhere near the hits, and it just doesn't have anywhere near the top tier Pokemon that Surging Spark has. The demand is already through the roof. You're seeing pre-orders hold up better than any other set in Scarlet Violet era so far. I believe the boxes are between $115 to $120. I believe the cases are between $650 to $700. And in my opinion, I don't see them dropping below $600. I don't see the boxes dropping below $110, $105. I think they're going to move up very quickly after release. I would expect it to be $120 to $130 plus box, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to say, Alex, you're causing FOMO. Stop it. And I'm not trying to cause FOMO. I'm trying to give everyone a fighting chance. I'm trying to let everyone know if you don't have boxes of Surging Spark and you want them, it may be a good time sooner rather than later. Again, this isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. But in my opinion, I do not think we're going to see Surging Spark any sort of crash. I don't think there's going to be enough supply to go around. I'm actually a little worried seeing the demand and seeing the supply out there that I'm going to be able to find enough to be able to open on my channel for my breaks. I'm already worried about how much I'm going to go through, and because I want to be able to keep a good amount for myself in my normal investment. And so yeah, it's a little scary, and it's a little strange that we still haven't seen any reprints from Pokemon, major ones. We saw a Paldea restock, we see random 151 products show up and things like that, but no major reprints. They're printing sets lower and lower, it seems. And there's just not a lot of product going into this Black Friday holiday season, which is a little alarming, guys. This is why it brings us into our next conversation, but this is why we're seeing these ridiculous rapid price moves, is because the market is just that thin right now. And it's just simple supply and demand. When there's not enough supply and the demand is too high, the prices have nothing to do but go up. It's just the way it is. Or you can keep your prices low as a store and you're going to sell out and have nothing to sell. People just walk in your store and you'll have a bunch of empty shelves, right? For myself as a store owner, if I was a store owner, I would rather have full shelves and people complain about the prices, but some people buy, than have empty shelves and people say, well, that guy was priced well. He priced things very fairly, but he has nothing in his store anymore, so we got to go somewhere else, right? And that's what you're going to continue to see, guys. You're going to continue to see prices higher and higher because they have to be. There's no product out there to get to refill the shelves with. And that's going to be the issue when it comes to Surging Spark. So, Let's talk about the 151 situation, guys. I know people think 151 needs this massive reprint. You guys need to understand how much 151 product has been dumped onto the market. Guys, look at Japanese 151. When those reprints came, that was Armageddon type scenario. People dumped their boxes for 40s and 50s, right? They were just $200 a box like a week before. And the amount of product that got dumped was unlike anything we've seen in a long time. And it got eaten up like that. It already doubled again. That's what we're seeing in English, guys. Look, the amount of UPCs that got dumped in pallets across Costco's all across the nation, they were $79.99 in store. They were $89.99 online, meaning you didn't even have to go to Costco. You could just log on Costco.com and order them for $90. The amount of those that sold, I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, easily in the tens, probably hundreds of thousands of UPCs. Now we have continuous drops of bundles on Walmart.com, on Pokemon Center, on anywhere else online website. There are bundles continuously dropping in the tens of thousands. That's right. If you look at it sold on like Walmart.com and these sites, there have been tens of thousands of bundles sold. So although we haven't seen reprints actually go through distribution chains, there have been tons of restock, reprints, whatever the heck you want to call them, dumped onto the market, and they get eaten up without anyone even missing a beat. They didn't even know what happened, right? The packs get opened like lightning. I mean, guys, I bought six of the bundle displays, which is 6 times 10 is 60, times 6 is 360. I went through 360 packs in 2 weeks on my live streams. 2 weeks. And I only stream 2 nights a week. Meaning 360 packs divided by 4 nights. That's how many packs of 151 we're still going through. And that's at $8 a pack. Now they're probably going to be rise to $8.50, $9 a pack. And they're still selling rapid fire. And so, look, Pokemon is printing product. They are putting product out there. It is just getting eaten up as fast as it gets out there. The 151 Charizard, okay? Now look, depending on what side of the aisle you're on in this hobby, it's almost like politics. I talk about it all the time. This hobby is like politics when it comes to modern and vintage, right? The vintage side is completely about supply. They're all about their population reports. They don't really pay attention to demand. They always think demand's going to fall off like Armageddon. And then the other side of things, the modern side, they understand the demand is so strong that, all these population reports aren't as relevant because it's all relative, right? If you have old cards with 100 pop report, but only like 1,000 people want them, it's not as strong as new cards with 10,000 pop reports, but 10 million people want them, right? Because the ratios are still off. And so, depending on who you talk to, one person's gonna say this is completely ridiculous that the Charizard is worth that much in 151 and a PSA 10. Other people are gonna say, yeah, it's justified. It's about time it got properly valued. Me, I'm kind of in the middle, right? I see both sides of it. I will say one thing. I think all the vintage guys and the low population guys are out of their minds. I think they need to get out of their own way. They live and die by these population reports, and what they don't understand is, right, if you go look at the sports card market, you will find tons of cards with 10, 20, 30,000 pop reports, and they still have huge values attached to them. Because here's what you gotta think about, all right? If you look across the entire world of collectors, do you not think, well, how many Charizards are out there? 9,000 PSA 10, 151 Charizards. Do you not think there's 9,000 people across the entire planet that collect Pokemon that don't want the most iconic set of Scarlet Violet, the most iconic card in that set, the Charizard, and they're not willing to pay $400, $500, $600, $700 for it? And then you can say, well, Alex, there's more graded every single day. Okay, let's say it doubles, triples. Do you not think there's 10, 15, 20, 25, 30,000 people across, again, the entire planet that don't want that card and aren't willing to pay $500+ for it? I think there is. And you can say, no, I don't think there is. And that's where the debate comes in and the investment side comes in. But I think there's enough people out there to reach these demands of these new cards. That's why they print so much of this stuff. That's why you can't find any of this stuff cheap anymore, is because that is how deep the demand goes in this hobby, right? And so, I completely understand the low population side of things. I get it, right? It doesn't take as much attention to move those markets, and so they can move very drastically in short periods of time because there's just not as much available. However, all of the attention and marketing dollars and money is directed at Modern. And that's why you see so much more demand for it, and probably always will. And so I wouldn't just brush off these moves as market manipulation, buyouts, all these terms that are thrown around. Guys, there's always a level of that, of people, trying to be opportunistic, but these moves are somewhat justified. Do I think Charizard's going to remain at $700 plus a card? No, I don't. Do I think it's going to fall to $350 again? No, I don't. I think it will probably cement itself as a $400 to $500 card, maybe more. I think it's going to be one of the most high dollar cards in the entire Scarlet Violet era. I think it's just how it is, guys. It's a freaking Charizard from the best set in Scarlet Violet. What more do you want? Now, we also have all the 151 product going to the moon. The PC ETBs, guys, most likely they're not going to print more of those. Most likely, even if they reprint all of the other stuff like ETBs, bundles, other things, it's likely not going to drop the price per pack enough to affect the PC ETBs that much, because it has that Stamp Snorlax promo. It has the value attached to the sealed item. And so maybe we see some dips, but I wouldn't expect a crash, right? Maybe 10, 20% correction if a huge reprint happens. But the PC ETBs will be sought after. I think the UPCs will be sought after. It's got those 3 promo cards. Those 3 promo cards are already starting to rise in value. That's the only way to get them. Again, a reprint will affect the price per pack, which will drop the item a little bit, but I don't think we'll see as large corrections as some people are thinking. Hopefully we get large ETB or bundle reprints where people can get in cheap again, but it's unclear, right? Because here's one of the issues that happens, right, is there's a lot of people on the sidelines right now waiting to buy, and if they drop a reprint and the price drops, all the money on the sidelines is immediately going to move in all at once, and it could just shoot the price right back up because they're going to buy it out, sort of like we see with Japanese 151 so quickly. So that's the other issue. So if they do drop a reprint and it drops, I wouldn't wait. I wouldn't be the Timmy out there. I'm going to wait, Alex. I'm just going to wait longer. I would take advantage of it if we do see any sort of major price drop. I would buy it as fast as you can. Again, not financial advice. That's my opinion. Next up, Twilight Masquerade. I told you guys this was going to happen. We have seen now our first Scarlet Violet era set surpass many of the Sword and Shield booster boxes already. It's selling for $170 a box on TCG Player now, which is more than Battle Styles, Vivid Voltage, Darkness Ablaze, Silver Tempest, I think Astral Radiance even at this point, very close to Astral Radiance, getting very close to Brilliant Stars. Guys, Twilight Masquerade, a 3-month-old set, is already topping half of the Sword and Shield era boxes. That's bananas. All because of one Greninja card. Go figure. That is the amount of demand for this hobby right now. What else is going on? We've got, Obsidian Flames, Temporal Forces absolutely blasting off. They're going to the 120s. Even Scarlet Violet base is back over $100. You got Paradox Rift and Stellar Crown holding up above $100. You got Paldea Evolve just shrugging off that restock and still holding at $140 a box. That's where we're at, guys. Even going back to Sword and Shield, obviously Evolving Skies, huge move on Evolving Skies right now. If you haven't been paying attention, it went from about $700 a box to $850, $850 plus pretty much overnight. Last time I checked, it could have changed already. There were only about 3 listings, 3 boxes, 1 per listing, that were under $900. And so Evolving Skies is very close to being a $900 booster box, and it looks like my prediction I made at the beginning of the year, it might come true. I said Evolving Skies at 1,000 by the end of the year, and everyone called me crazy. It's looking like it might happen. Me and Eli said Lost Origin 250 to 300 by the end of the year. It's looking very much like that might happen. It's already in the 230s, pushing 240 already. And a lot of Sword and Shield is starting to go on a run again. And obviously we know the rest of the market's all on a tear. Even vintage, a lot of the vintage cards are starting to move. Vintage boxes are starting to move. We've got XY Sun and Moon on an absolute tear, becoming more and more scarce. And guys, I've said it before. This is very much a clear relation to the COVID market times. And there's only a few differences. No Logan Paul. No free money from the government in forms of stimulus checks. No pandemic that's keeping everyone locked in their houses to do nothing more than watch YouTube videos and open Pokemon cards, right? There's nothing right now that is driving this market other than organic demand. That's all it takes. And I don't see it slowing down. And you can say, Alex, you're causing FOMO, and Alex, you're only right. You were only right this time because you and others manipulated the market and all that good stuff. But the fact of the matter is, guys, these hobbies continue to grow. And a company like Pokemon is very aware of the secondary market, no matter what anyone thinks. They're very aware of the economic conditions. They're keeping their products at enough scarcity to continue to hold value and rise in value and continue to give people that retained value of their collectible items. But they're not printing not enough to where they're not at least affordable to still be able to purchase. They're keeping it right at that sweet spot. And it's just working out, guys. It's working out very well. Now, listen, what should you be selling right now? Me, myself, I currently have my 151 Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaurs, things like that at auctions. I am taking advantage of some of these price moves on my slabs. I am not selling any of my 151 sealed items, such as PC ETBs and 151 UPCs. So, just like I always talk about, I sell the slabs, right? I take the profits there. I hold the sealed. Twilight Masquerade. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's getting harder not to take some money off the table on that, and I wouldn't blame anyone that does right now. Twilight Masquerade is probably the most in danger set of getting a reprint at some point, and so it's not a terrible idea to take some money off the table. However, I will remind people of Evolving Skies. It did get a reprint, and it basically did nothing to it. The last reprint it got. And people continue to wait for another reprint, and it never came, and it ran away without them. And a lot of people that could have bought it $180 a box decided not to and wait for a reprint because all the YouTubers were saying it was coming. It never did, and they ended up having to buy in like I did in the 300s and 400s to get a position. And so I will just remind you of that if we don't get a massive reprint of Twilight. And or we do get a reprint and the price doesn't correct enough because there's that much demand, or distributors sell it to stores at a higher price, or all those good things. It could run away without you, but you have to be okay with that, right? When you sell things and take a profit, you have to be happy with the profit and be okay with missing out and just move on to the next play. Now, best case scenario, you sell and take your profits. It dips huge on a reprint, drops that down to $110 a box, and you can pick everything back up. And now you're in position A. Your cost basis is like extremely low, and you basically can't lose. So that's always another option. Same thing with 151 right now. I myself not selling PC ETBs or 151 UPCs, but if I had ETBs, which I don't, if I had bundles, which I don't, may be a good time to take some profits on them. Those are probably going to be the most likely items to be reprinted. Paldea Evolved, it is over a year old. They just get a restock. We could see a reprint come still. It's not confirmed. It's not, 100%. We could, so I get people still wanting to take profit at these prices. Me, myself, I actually bought more into this reprint, and I'm continuing to hold. I believe Paldea is going to be one of the top sets in this era still, even with all the good stuff coming, so I'm holding that. Sword and Shield, guys, in my opinion, I'm not selling any Sword and Shield product right now. Not selling Lost Origin at $230, not selling Evolving Skies at $850. I'm not selling any of this stuff, right? It is now becoming 2, 3, 4 years old. The reprints are over, and the scarcity is starting to set in, and as things age, people will want to open them as sort of like the big box on the streams. They'll be put into the mystery packs as like some of like the lower level hits now, and they're going to continue to get eaten up in supply, and as that happens, you will start to see these boxes become $200, $300, $400, and Evolving Skies will most likely become $900, $1,000, $1,000 plus, and so I want to take advantage of that move. I think we are going to see that move shortly in the next year to 2 years. And so in my opinion, it still makes more sense to hold those and see that move than to sell them and put the money somewhere else, because I think the money is still better used there than other places. Just my opinion. I could always be wrong. But yeah, any of the singles and slabs that are seeing these massive run-ups of like 100%, I think it's always a good time to move those. As we've seen with history, that history has shown us, slabs don't have the greatest long-term growth track record. Some do very well, but they are very volatile, meaning after very large moves up, they usually have some pretty large moves down, as we saw with the alt arts and the trainer galleries. Before that, we saw it with the tag teams and the waifus there. We've always seen these massive run-ups and then these massive downturns, where usually they're going to set higher lows. Like again, I don't think the Charizard's going to go back in the low 300s. It'll probably end in the 400 to 500s on the drop, but it's probably not going to continue to go too much higher, and it most likely will not hold around $700. And that goes for kind of all the crazy moves right now. So if you want to take profits there, it's always a good opportunity there. And so that's pretty much it, guys. That's what's happening, right? The stuff's moving around the market everywhere you go. If you want to take profits, it's always a good time to do it into strength, but I wouldn't consider selling a lot of things that you might not have the opportunity to get back, especially at this price point in the future. When it comes to Surging Spark, buckle up. Just we'll talk more about it in the future, but for now, buckle up. Surging Spark is going to be a wild ride. I can't even tell you what I'm actually predicting. I'll tell you. Look, no one's even listening at this point anyway, so I don't really care. Video's probably 20, 30 minutes long, so no one's even listening. I'm just going to say it right now. If you want my actual opinion, I'm trying to be like more realistic and like not give people the FOMO and panic, saying it'll probably be, 120, 130 a box. If you want my actual opinion, especially looking at Twilight Masquerade, I think Surging Spark will probably eclipse 150 a box. I think it could actually be the first box to run to 200 unless we see more stock come, unless we see a very quick reprint. If we don't see a reprint on Surging Spark within the first 3 to 6 months, I think it could get ugly. Judging from what Twilight Masquerade has done, I think it could get extremely ugly. I think it could be a $150 to $200 box very quickly. Again, don't FOMO, don't panic, but judging from what I've heard already, the hype and the supply are way too off. There's way too much hype and not enough supply right now. So that's just my opinion there. The GameStop scenario, guys, GameStop is going to continue to find new ways to continue to chop away at the independent LGS model, and anything they are doing that they can use their brand recognition and their money to throw at to get better at and actually beat them at their own game, they're going to continue to do it. And I think the less capitalized and the kind of the weaker businesses of the LGSs, I think those will continue to fall by the wayside. They'll go out of business. They won't be able to compete with a lot of things GameStop's going to continue to do. And so that's kind of what I think the future of that is. But hey, GameStop, hey, $15.99 to grade your cards. Not a bad option. And so that is the video today. Hope everyone enjoyed it, was entertained, and subscribe to the channel. Be back here in a new one soon. Go Blues!